Welcome, adventurers, to another captivating episode of Dripping Creativity. I'm your host and dungeon master, Chris Corvan. Today, we embark on an epic quest with a guest who is a true legend in the gaming and streaming worlds. Joining us is the extraordinary Becca Godsey, also known as Caustic Phoenix. As the co-owner and grandmaster of the D20 Deathmatch, Becca has brought epic battles and immersive storytelling to life, captivating audiences with her creativity and passion. Beyond the arena, she's also an ambassador for the GameHers, supporting and uplifting women and femme-identifying gamers. The journey from mixer to becoming a beloved Twitch personality is a testament to her dedication and vision. Her commitment for building positive, inclusive communities has made a lasting impact in the gaming world. But before we get into it, remember, do the like, do the comment, just help us out here. It's very helpful. All right, now jumping right in. Beck, how are you doing today?
I am wonderful. How are you, Chris?
Oh, that was a mouthful, man. It was actually short. It was way longer than I actually had put in. I was like, you know what? We're just gonna go. It's too hot. It's too hot.
Pick the highlights. It's fine.
Pretty sure I missed a couple things in there, but you know what? We'll go with it. You do a lot of things. Is really what it boils down to.
I have not had a straight path in a career, so it's made for a difficult thing to condense.
You know what? Nothing wrong with that. I like it. So let's actually just kind of roll it right back to the beginning, fork in the road. What kind of started you on this path to everything you're doing now?
Yes, I would actually put this all the way back in probably high school when I first started speech and debate. I was a bit of a nerdy. We used to call ourselves speechies, but we were like the offshoot of theater students, but we clearly did not belong with theater. They were more on the musical, the full stage, and the production, and we were the individuals who talked to walls. So made for a really nice transition over to Twitch when we're still used to talking to ourselves from time to time. So it made it easier to hop on over to that, but it certainly gave me the foundation of appreciating our stories as human beings and how we tell them. And that's been my pathway kind of from there on out, whether it's in teaching or performing or hosting or interviewing. I love just to be able to explore what it means to be human and how we live that out.
I love that. It was beautifully put. It was so good. So, how did the gaming kind of get involved? Was that something you started as a child, or?
A little bit as a child. I remember, this is going to age me a little bit, so no one wrapped me out a little bit on here, but I remember the old controllers for Pong on the Atari, Maze Craze, and I loved those. Or on the GameCube. Listen, I have 3 other siblings, and so we each had to take turns with the GameCube, or the old classic 007 Golden Eye, where you adjusted to do slappers only. But for a while, especially through high school, I fell off the bandwagon of games. I remember seeing in high school, like, some of my friends, boyfriends played Magic the Gathering, but it was never an invitation for me to play in that same space. And so I took a hiatus, and I came back after I finished college. Actually right in the middle of college. Now that I think about it, because I did run my own esports tournament in college for the first time. I came back starting in college, but I didn't fall in love into it, especially with the storytelling, RPG stories, until afterwards. So it's been a revival of Caustic in the gaming space.
Legit, it's pretty much the same story for me. I mean, I was huge into gaming and all that all the way through junior high, and then about high school, between being a theater kid, musical theater, and
nerd.
Such a nerd. But I was also a metalhead goth kid. So there's not a lot of time for gaming when you're being really broody and emo, and then being really broody and emo on stage.
You all had the heaviest pants too.
The biggest chains too. My chains were massive. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Thinking about bringing those back,
Honestly, they look really cool, but I live in Florida, so the heat of wearing those.
See, up here in Canada, I can get away with it for like 9 months of the year. It's fine.
Yeah.
So, I didn't know about the first esports tournament. Let's quickly talk about that. How did that set up when you decided, hey, I want to run an esports tournament for something that I don't know a lot about, to the point of actually running it, and how did it go?
Sure. So it was very early on. Not exactly a lot of people were doing a lot of online play, and I was the major events planner at my university because I love to be in charge of things and I love hosting things where people get together. So I was already doing homecoming and all of that sort of stuff. And I had a friend that goes, "Hey, I really want to do a LAN party with others." And I go, "A what?" Uh, and this was my friend who would carry in Halo 2 for me. Like, we would be online and we'd play, and I would get crushed every single time. And then people go 1v1 me. And then I would hand the controller to him, and then he would destroy them for me. It was the best symbiotic relationship ever on that. And so he's like, "Yeah, can we just do it?" And so we found everyone on campus that we could with laptops, not laptops, well, a few, they couldn't really run it, but we pulled in our Xboxes, we pulled in our monitors, everyone brought their own controllers. I catered in Taco Bell, and we did prizes like if you got Killing Frenzy, you got water guns for it. If you got eliminated, you got a tea bag, right? Like, so we had fun with it. I feel odd because I'm used to saying like PCs and monitors, but I'm realizing this was so far back that most of us didn't have that. I was like, yeah, we had to bring our old school consoles. It's different language these days, and all the cords you had to bring. And small note, it wasn't even then, it was more recently that I discovered it's a LAN party, LAN. I always thought they referred to it as a land party because you share the same land. I'd never written it down anywhere. They only said it fast, so I assumed, yeah, it's a land party because we're all in the same land piece. It's fine. There's so many things now that is so readily available in esports that I have no clue about at the time.
Well, but at the same time, like even just being able to go with it on the fly there, figure out as you go, and it sounded like it was fairly successful all the way through. So that's amazing. Like that's not something you hear about too often, and to be able to pull that off, that's I love it. I love it so much. So let's actually is there anything else through the history in college and all of that kind of chose where you decided to go when you got to this side of things? Was there anything that really helped you out besides the speech and debate and the leadership? What other types of things were you able to kind of integrate into your toolbox?
Well, you know how I mentioned I have had a weird career path. And even though I'm happy not to go back to any of those jobs again, I have picked up small things from each and every single one that has been very valuable. Like even when I was on the national marketing team for a massive accounting firm. It was really great to kind of see the structure of it and being able to connect and be more into the instructional part. And I enjoyed traveling and connecting. And we did an internal education where I learned about hosting and interviewing people, kind of tapped into that. Then I moved over to a marketing agency, and it was really exciting learning to do voiceover because some of our clients didn't want to pay for that. So we did it internally in-house for free, right? That we were already charging them for. So that got me into voice acting a little bit more. Or, now that I'm a teacher over at Full Sail University, I get to see some of my students being creative on their own. It's a constant well of inspiration for me as I continue to think, how do I bring myself to life and create something that is always challenging to me, something that is different, and at the same time push my students to do the same. So it's constant, and it reminds me that I don't really have huge milestones, which is quite counter in D&D, which you get most of your XP from. There's a lot of little tiny things.
But you know what? Especially as I've had a similar pathway through, I prefer it because you're adapting to what you're currently doing and then taking that and using it in a different way, and it helps you think outside of the box when you're creating these things, and that's awesome. So we're actually going to jump further down the list and talk about Full Sail because we just kind of brought it up there. How did that kind of get into that is something you really wanted to do, and how have you been enjoying it?
Yes. So I've been teaching at the university level for more than a decade, I think now at this point, a while. And I'd become a little critical of the educational space. And don't get me wrong, full disclosure, Full Sail is a for-profit university, which had given me a lot of pause as well. In many of the universities that I've worked at, I realize a lot of them are also, even though they're under the nonprofit title, or they're very stuck to particular ideals or structure that doesn't necessarily benefit the student. And so when I was looking at a switch up, wanting to still stay in education, I wanted to find a university that was so focused on application. And Full Sail has more of a, let's say, a trade school background with its music base and wanting just to be people there and creating. And so when I joined in, it was really fascinating to see, one, they were an accelerated program, so it gets students through quickly. And second is that it's incredibly application based. It tries to connect them with real jobs. They do the projects, even for our senior project right now. So I have current students that are getting ready to, and they were messaging me about it. They're hosting their own esports event at the end of the month. They do the whole thing of working with show production, doing the marketing for it, finding the talent, doing the whole thing from beginning to end. And that's the goal, is that they're not just, writing papers and learning APA style guide, which is good and fundamental. So don't dock your schools for that, right? But it also makes sure that, can you do this? Have you had practice? Can you put that on your resume and have a showcase piece? Have you been building your portfolio from at least a third of the way through your schooling instead of just doing class assignments? And so I love that. Again, I love it, but it's also, as somebody who knows so many students are pressured to go to college, it sounds appealing, but still do the work to see, is this the right fit? It's a very much Cinderella's slipper, all right? It's a pretty glass slipper, but glass can also be uncomfortable, so know what you're getting into.
Man, you're just so good at this. So good. So then, kind of mixing in with the school and all of that. As
Yes.
I've been in a couple streams and I've heard you talking to a couple of your students in there. Is that something that everybody knows what you kind of do in your off time, or is it just they happen to find you?
So I do actually mention it. In my particular class, we go over making brand decks, pitch decks. They build their website portfolio, and I show them mine. Here's what mine looks like. Here's what it is in progress. Here's the things that I hate about how mine functions and what I'll be doing to it in the future. I do ask that while they're current students, they don't come by, that they definitely don't sub. I say that covers ethical boundaries, and that's important for me to bounce. But I say after that, once you have left, you are welcome to come by. All right, tell me what you're doing, because the hard part about an accelerated program is I only get them for 1 month, and I get invested in my students. I kind of care a little bit. So I'm like, come back, tell me what you're doing so I can be a cheerleader. Or I just had a student recently and just sent me his resume again, like, hey, can you look it over again? I'm like, yes, let me look it over. I'm excited to help you. So there is that, and that's what I love about a lot of the other teachers, is that at Full Sail, they really value bringing in instructors that have real world experience. You do have to have at least your master's at well, and in certain levels, maybe your PhD, but they really want to make sure that, have you worked in the gaming space? So a lot have EA experience, or they've worked with influencers directly, and they're expected to also bring in their life or current work experience into the classroom.
Legit, that's actually a fantastic way to do it.
Right.
I think, yeah, especially for kids wanting to kind of get into the space and all of that, like that's invaluable teaching experience right there. Because I'm a firm believer in hands-on experience over
Right.
books. So yeah, no, that's fantastic. So then let's kind of segue right into the GameHers and talk more about all of this. How did you get involved, and what do you do over there?
I discovered them at PAX South, which I know it's expensive and it's hard to do, but one of the best ways to continue to make good connections with people in the space and get opportunities is to go physically where other people are. I have only gone to a handful, but every single time it has been so beneficial. This was before they officially launched. They were just there, just trying to get their name out, like, hey, come this February, we're actually going to be going live. We're going to be official. And I was like, I love it. Let me be a part of it. Whatever you're doing, I want more women in the space. I want more of our voice to be here. Let me know what I can do. And so they brought me first on as an ambassador because I was thrilled just what they were doing. And it's evolved since then. Obviously, they've had me become a host. I took over the amazing Tactical Grandma. She's fantastic. If you've not seen her streams on Twitch or TikTok, she's killing the game. Grandma who plays Call of Duty, but she's also the internet's grandma. And I took over her wonderful legacy of getting to interview women and femme-identified individuals in this space, femme-presenting individuals in this space. And it's been fantastic every step of the way. And the GameHers has grown too. They're an organization that tries to provide resources to women in all levels, whether you're a cosplayer and you don't even like playing video games, you just like the way they look and recreating them, whether you're a casual gamer or an esports. And they do a lot to try to connect women in the space that want to do it professionally with brands. Like just recently with the ambassadors, myself included, they gave us opportunity to work with Walmart. So now I can say I worked with Walmart, you know, a huge brand on my resume. And that's a big deal. So that when they talk about lifting women up, that was the goal, to say, I want to be a part of it. I want to be a part of that mission. And they've been following through with it.
That's so cool. So kind of talking with that, what specific kind of strategies and initiatives have you found most effective in fostering the inclusivity of it all?
Going to places. I know that sounds silly because I'm a bit of a broken record here, but when I get to go to conventions and meet with others, it's amazing. I recently worked the GameHers booth at the XP League North American Finals, and it's like a middle school, high school North American final tournament. Teams come from all across North America to compete in Rocket League, Fortnite, and oddly enough, there were so many moms that actually dropped by, and they're like, "What is this?" They're not, they're not always in the same places where you might target and run like Facebook ads, right? Because they're busy running around to their kids' events. Or I'm seeing middle school girls go, "What is a GameHer? Am I a GameHer?" And I got to talk to one of them, and they're like, it was exciting because when I first came to this event, I thought, am I the only girl competing? And to see a booth here and then see other esports competitors that were girls there at the table, they're like, oh, this is my space. And you might hear it on the headphone set every now and then, but there's something different of being there in person. And even for individuals who are not women or femme presenting, right, to have allies in the space to say, we're excited if we want to support it, it is helpful. And that's why we give away a ton of stickers, because even just having the little sign that like, I'm the GameHers, or do you know the GameHers exist, makes a world of difference to let people know we see gaming as inclusive. Small little signs like that is important, because even though it's online, that physical connection gives such a shortcut to building community. Whereas online, you have to extend that timeline through so many more additional interactions. I mean, as we know, like, I know we're doing this as a podcast that's audio, but we have our cameras on because we know the face-to-face translates so much more information. It's such a richer form of communication in that channel. And so when you do it in person, it shortcuts that so much faster to build something that is connecting and valuable so immediately. And it's amazing to see that happen. So they try to go to as many conventions. They try to hold events. I really love it. I told them, like, I hate going to clubs after conventions. I know that's where networking is, but I'm short and people step on my toes and they spill drinks on me and it's awful and I don't want to drink. I just want to have food. And they're like, well, let's do a brunch. I'm like, let's do a brunch. That's a much better place to network. I don't even care if it's at IHOP. I can actually then hear the conversations. God bless my deaf ears, because I've had headphones on my entire life, right? Like, it was so wonderful to see solutions like that. And it's so exciting to see, like, okay, that was their strategy of like, how do we actually get them together? Now they do also have like a Discord, they have a GameHers app, they run marketing. And to be honest, I love that they do that. Now that I'm no longer in marketing, I don't want to do it again. You get it. It's exhausting. I think people think like, oh, it's social media posts. Writing another copy for Twitter, for X, or whatever you want to call it. I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. Or when you're like, I pay for the blue check mark so I can edit it. And then there was this one time that the editing wasn't going through. And I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I putting myself through this stress? So blessed to those who have to play the marketing game. For those that don't, you should thank the gods for their efforts to get you that information and to do the effort of what they've been doing to post and create content and clip and edit. So the Pink Pixels and the GameHers, they've put together teams of individuals who love to do that, who are good and can build their skills, and they pay me, they pay editors, they pay mods, And it's really wonderful that they're continuing to try to build the resumes of the women in the space. That was a very limited answer. I'm sorry.
No, that was perfect. Are you kidding me? Granted, that was like 6 clips I'd have to cut, but that was so good. So good. Oh, it's almost like you've done debate and have talked before. It's crazy.
What?
Crazy.
What? I know.
I like my daughter. She's 12. Massive gamer. Always has been. Like she's been doing Minecraft for however long now. She's into Roblox and all this stuff, and it's so I watch, but it's having something like GameHers is extremely important for her. Like I've dropped the name. We've kind of she hasn't really shown any interest in it, but it's going to be one of those things that's extremely important to her because I have 2 sisters. I'm the only guy in a family, right? So and my little sister used to watch me play WoW. She used to sit right next to me while I would play WoW, and I'd be raiding and talking to everybody, and she fell in love with gaming from watching me. So then she started doing it, but then unless you have that really good core group, you run into problems, and it's something that every woman runs into, and it sucks and it's horrible. So to have kind of a safe place like that is so beneficial and amazing, and it's something that really needs to be shouted out more and talked about more, and I love it.
Yeah, at least for some LFGs. I know they've got one for D&D, and they were hosting some for a while. I was like, because it is. Sometimes I even forget, because I know we were talking about video games, but even in the TTRPG space, there is toxicity. I'll read on Reddit, because Reddit's my guilty pleasure, like RPG horror stories and whatnot, or even Am I the Assholes? I'm sorry, that's the name of it. I'm not cursing.
Swear away, man. I have no issues with that.
Awesome. Where they tell these horror stories of DMs who will force them into romance or sexually harass them or put them in situations that is so uncomfortable. And it's surprising because these are stories and games that we love, and they require, to a certain degree, vulnerability. They take time and investment. They take care. And to see these violated just because of a simple thing that you cannot change, right, of being a woman, or even just sounding like a woman, looking like a woman, is enough, right? Which is so surprising and is awful. So to see more LFGs, to see more allies in the space has been wonderful, but it is obviously not eradicated.
Well, no, and I mean, it as good as it is getting, it in comparison to what it was, sure, there's still too much fear, I think, and that's one of the things that really needs to be snuffed out, and a whole lot of people that need to be smacked upside the head. But that's my opinion.
Yes. Can you imagine if there was like a parent report, like, hey, this is all that your child said on the internet? I wonder if there'd be some learning opportunities. But that also makes me excited for other programs. I'm going to shout out my friend Anthony for his Moonbeam program, right? That does more sentiment analysis and gives you clues like, hey, you were banned because here's the tone of all of your messages. Here's why. And this is the one thing that excites me a little bit more about technology, is that in Twitch, right, or YouTube or Discord, right, where we have these conversations, so many times it's put on the women to have to push back or to educate, be like, hey, I hear what you're saying, but you really can't say things like that. And there's a variety, like anyone within a position of minority, you hear that. Like there's plenty of times like I've heard, what are you? And I know they're asking about my background, but I'm like, I have to now go through the educational responsibility of like, I hear what you're saying. The phrasing there is not great. And it's even harder because I have to choose to give them the benefit of doubt if I see it via text. I have to choose to infer the best out of their tone. I have to infer the best out of their intentions. And relying on new tools that will lift that burden, or to have friends who will take that burden from me, is so helpful and important.
Completely. I mean, as now I've said multiple times on this podcast, as a native, I totally get it.
Yep.
Like, what are you, Chris? Are you like Italian? That was my favorite, actually. I'll take Italian, because who doesn't want to be Italian,
Cool.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
It's hard because it's like, it's not wrong to ask and be curious, but how do you, like, there's a way and a reason why.
yes. Well,
And so it takes so much more nuance.
I think yeah, no, that's an entire conversation to itself. But I think, like, for me, there's a difference in, it's like asking out of privilege sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And it's like, when you're asking, you know, what are you? It's just like, you wouldn't ask that to anyone else. You just feel like you can. And like, that's, be it for whatever reason, your brain's just like, yeah, no, this is perfectly fine to say. I could never say that to somebody. And, you know, because just there's way more backlash. And yeah, no, it's an educational thing. And it's, again, it's another one of those things that's slowly getting better. You now see a lot of the exact opposite side, where they tread so lightly. And they're just like, I don't know what to say. It's like, dude, calm down, it's okay.
It'll be all right, just breathe. There's so many things that require an understanding of first seeing that person as more than just the one thing you want to know. And that's hard because we as human beings look for those shortcuts. We have to cater to so much these days. It's exhausting. We take in all this different types of information. And so I don't blame people for having those shortcuts, but it's now challenging them of, why do I make these assumptions? When do these assumptions serve and help the conversation? And when are they hindering my ability to understand? Like, there are certain things that we can't assume. Like, when we go through conversations, the fact that you go, hey, how are you? Right? I answer in a generically positive way, or in this case, I was generally positive, so it was easy, right? But if I were to go, oh, it's terrible, I hate it today, like, it would be such a break. I'm breaking the assumptions. But when I go with certain assumptions, like, oh, you're Chinese, and then I fill in assumptions around that, like, well, yeah, but I'm not Chinese in the same way. I'm actually more Chinese American, and my father's actually Chinese American, and I'm half Chinese American. And so there's so much more nuance that you're missing when you take in all of these extra layers. And it's because we want to hop ahead, so we feel like we're understanding people better. That's the best case scenario. And other times it's just like, I want to put you in a category so I can talk about you, right?
And yeah, well, and that's the hoops we have to jump through when we're talking to somebody, is determining what their intentions are. Like, there's a lot more, we have to be more empathic, and I think that's kind of something everyone needs to do when they're talking, especially, you know, race, sexual orientation, gender, like, all of it is just, you may want to know, but that doesn't mean you need to know it, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, if I want to share, hey, I will, you know.
Yeah.
Or pick up context clues, they're everywhere.
It's kind of fun to be obtuse sometimes. Like, what are you? Meat popsicle.
Yeah.
A lizard.
Always a meat
Take
popsicle. Always.
Yes. Good luck finding out. I don't even know. We'll find out, right? Like,
I'm not going to be signing up for 23andMe. You're not getting me on that list. No. Nice try.
I'll never know. I want to stay in the dark. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm like native and Swedish.
Yeah.
Would have saw that one coming.
Take what you want from it. Yeah.
Well, hell, even going out, so side tangent now. Like, my mother and sisters, they're blonde, blue eyes.
Yes.
I am not.
So you really stand out.
So
genetics are amazing, aren't they?
It's like, you know, I mean, they have a different dad, but at the same time, it's like, they're blonde, blue eyes, I'm not, and it's like, oh, you must be adopted.
Oh gosh. Okay, I have to ask, as someone who's also from a mixed family, right? Parents different, yours as well. What does it do for your identity when you see, especially when we were growing up, so many nuclear style families that were, everyone looks the same, they have similar hair colors and eye colors, and they all go together? How did you feel about your own identity?
So growing up in, like, it was a very mixed race and everything. I didn't come into that nuclear side until high school when we moved down south, and it went from being white was a minority to white was a majority. And
wow,
that was a massive, just complete change for me.
Yeah.
Because I used to be the whitest person in all my friends. and suddenly it's like, oh no, I stand out a little bit more here because, you know, I tan really good in the summer. And so seeing it from that side, it
Yeah.
was weird for me. Not so much because of the family. Well, the family dynamics were definitely different because I don't know. They just it I would have to think of it to find the right words. But looking back, I see what you're saying. There's something there to figure out.
It's weird. Of course, this is a hope that, you know, now that we see more changes in media, that people see the diversity and families look like a lot of different things. For me, it felt very aware, but I went to a very predominantly white school, and there weren't many half individuals like myself. And so I never connected with the Asians. They didn't see me as theirs. Like with them, I felt very white, right? And when I was with people who were white, I felt very Asian.
that right there, completely.
Yes.
Completely. That's, you know, I mean, yeah.
It's a gap. There's a giant crack and you just fall through. And what should be a celebration that you get both cultures, that you get to celebrate and you get to show how they intermingle and you get to pick and choose the best parts of it that your family brings to you. Instead, it's like you're not allowed to really have either.
You always feel like an outsider anywhere you go, definitely. Like my dad used to call it being an apple, red on the outside, white on the inside, where it's just, there's no really way of sure, I can integrate and kind of I can make my way through fine, but you don't feel connected to any one side. I think for me, I never really focused on that so much as just focused on my family, like my immediate family, because there I always felt good. So it was very much a just find where I feel like I belong, and that's what I hold on to. But anyways, those are entirely other conversations that we're not even here for today. I don't know how much of this I'm going to end up keeping.
That's fair. Well, in one note to tie it back together, right? When we're here as creatives, our backgrounds and influences change the stories that we tell, changes the work that we do. It's so important to have those moments of reflection, to see the world in which we exist, because when we put our art out there, it has to exist in that same world that has influenced us, that gives us those lenses, or we'll try to rip it away and see it from eyes that are not our own, that are white, that are blue, that are green, and not of my own brown eyes, right? So it's important, even though, like, as an artist, when I create things, and I think all of what I do is art. When I teach, that's art. When I create and I do a DM, that's art. When I actually make a social media post, it's art. When I draw on an envelope, it's art, right? When I'm putting that out there, I'm putting part of myself. But I know as an artist, I have a responsibility of not just creating things that are of me, but I have to keep my audience in mind and what message I want them to get. And I want them to understand. Don't just take it for their own and allow them to personalize it, right? They can do that, but I want them to know what my intention is beyond one of that. Maybe that's because I'm a very selfish artist. I know that isn't for everyone. I'm very grateful for musicians, because many times I don't care what their intentions for songs are. I will, as the recreative artist, give it new meaning in my brain. But for me, when I put something out there, I want to be understood. And maybe that's reflective of who I am and wanting to still understand myself. Wow. Okay, that led down a mirror.
Well, no, actually, that's a great little side tangent, because that's something that actually comes up a lot in these, because everything I do here is not just about one specific industry, it's about all creatives. So that is actually something we talked about before with others, where it's like, you know, when you release art, is it now yours or is it somebody else's? And I think there's a difference in things that we create. Like if I create just, you know, a short story, that's for everybody. But if I'm doing a specific poem that's, you know, meant something to me, I want it to be understood from how I was feeling it. Same with like themes in D&D and actual plays and all that. Like, you know, if I'm creating a story, it's gonna have a moral in it somewhere, and I would really love somebody to get what I'm trying to say without me having to spell it out. So I think there's a great dichotomy there between being a selfish artist and being an artist for the people. And it's two different kind of genres of creativeness, and that's amazing. That's awesome.
Yes. I find the strongest art that resonates and I think grows to levels of both popularity, but having an eternal thread are those that appeal to universal appeals about the human experience. I wish I can credit the artist that said this, but they said something along the lines of, I will sing the song for a reason, and then my audience will sing it back to me for a million other reasons. But the reason why there's that connection is that there is that thread. If you're singing about heartbreak can be from, an ex-lover. It can also be from a disappointing friend who broke your heart that way. It could be from the loss of a family member, right? But there's still that human experience that you have had your heart hurt. You've lost hope. You've been broken, right? And that's something that no matter who you are, that's what it means to be human, to go through that at some point in time. And good art taps into those appeals. It has then the exploration of specifics, but it finds its foundation, its roots in what it is to be human.
Beautiful. Again, just that perfect pinpoint on it. Killing it. So talking about this beauty of life and creativeness, let's talk about Deathmatch.
Yeah. Yes.
That's a segue. See that shit?
The eventual great. Shared human experience of dying.
Hey, we all do it.
Right.
So, how did this concept start? Where did it come from? Walk me down the path.
Admittedly, it's my partner's idea first, right? Mudcat was he was loving celebrity deathmatch, WWE, but he was just too busy. He was kicking off too many projects. He didn't have time to take it on. It had put on the back burner, and then I brought it up, and I was like, you know what? I think I would like to take this on. I think I could handle it. And we started testing it out, and we would go to our little local tavern. Rest in peace, it's now dead. It was a wonderful gaming tavern where you could go and play D&D specifically. They had drinks associated. Like, it's sad. It didn't make it through. But we would play there, and we would take characters that hadn't been played before. Like, we were getting ready to start a campaign. We're like, well, let's put them through a battle, see what we could do. And I know it's called D20 Deathmatch, and of course people die. Almost everyone dies in the arena. Spoiler, right? But really, it's not about death. What it is about living absolutely to its fullest, putting yourself completely committed and out there, that if you were to die, that you would not have regrets. To fully explore what it means to push yourself to the brink in which you now have your life ebbing away. Like, that's the idea of the death match. Now, in the lore itself, everyone is revived, so at least there's some breathing room for people that are very attached, because we've had a few players that are very sensitive about that. But that's because they do care, and they get the chance to go, what is it like to see death? What does this character go through? We get this full span of being a character, of being challenged, of having to go, not just the growth of it, but to push yourself. What's the biggest, strongest thing can I do? And I love that so many characters, and I've noticed people who really seem to understand who they are personally, will not do a big attack as their winning move. It is role play in which they win our hearts. Because as we know, with dice, who knows if you hit it or not, right? Like that you have no control over, much like in life, right? But it's your framework that you set it up for, the motivation that you reveal, the background in which you created to be able to do such a move that tells so much more of who that player is. And we loved it. We noticed, like, oh, we get to really explore characters in these intros. Let's run this out. And it's evolved many times through the seasons as we try to better understand and give them this full range of experience within 2 hours. And it's been delightful. And of course, it was, at the time, nothing else that people were doing. There was one that was trying to do with, like, celebrity DMs that were out there, but they were doing it seriously. Like, it was only serious, and they were min-maxing, which is not fun. And I'm not a min-maxer at all. Anyone can. Like, that's an art on its own. But I love imperfect characters, right? I love a barbarian with a low strength. My initial intro to D&D was not D&D, but it was Harmon's Quest. And of course, absolute failure so many times in that, and I thought that's amazing storytelling. I love failure. And so we bring in characters that can be hilarious but also be dramatic. We get that full emotional spectrum if we want it. So that was the goal.
So that actually kind of answers the follow-up that I had, which was kind of, how do you do something with such a competitive nature with narrative elements that keeps both the players and the audience engaged?
Like life, it is inherently unfair. We tell our players, right, we have two DMPCs, right, the grandmaster and the arbiter, that we intervene. We intervene a lot. Right? We throw in chaotic events. If we think someone is dying too fast or not dying fast enough, we will throw metal chairs into the ring. We will give chinchillas that bite their ankles. We will drop health potions for those that flatter us. You know, much like in life, that's how we get chopped sometimes.
You're not wrong.
We try to encourage them and not make them feel so dependent on the idea of winning. And that's also where we gave them the idea, like, yes, everyone will be revived, so that way they don't go in thinking I need to win. We prep our players to say, you just need to tell the best story. That's really the winner at the end of the day. Tell the best story, and if you die, make it the most epic fucking death you've ever had. Like, this is your chance to write it. And especially when we're on just a 1v1, there's time where we always say, what goes through your head? We want them to have control over their final thoughts, their final actions in those moments, which I think is such an empowering and wishful moment, because so many of us, when I've seen death in my own personal life, we don't have that control. We don't get the time that we want to close things out the way that we want to. And so at least in our dream of this TTRPG, you do get those final thoughts. You get to have that final note in your chapter, which feels important.
Man, it's almost like you've done marketing before too.
What?
That's crazy. That's crazy. Oh, you sell it so well.
You get it. You get it.
So that's see, the problem with having 900 projects like you is I want to sit here and talk for like an hour on each one. and we're already like an hour into this.
Right, yeah, sorry.
Never apologize ever for talking. I'm good to just keep going, man. I would do this for 6 hours if we could. So just as we kind of end cap the D20 stuff and move into the rapid fire here, has there been one specific moment in the deathmatch that kind of stands out to you as just like, this is the quintessential thing that defines what you wanted to create?
I will say, honestly, it was at the beginning. We were very lucky it happened early on, and we wanted this to resonate with our community. When I saw in our first stream a whole line of chat just chanting one of the champions' names, that was exactly what we had pictured. We want them to feel like, yes, they're at the arena, that they're cheering them on. This is gladiatorial in its nature. And it gave the confirmation that this is the right pathway. This is what we're doing. They get what we're dreaming of here. Because there's been times where we do a particular story and chat was like, that's interesting, and they treat it like every other D&D story and the way they react and engage, which I get it, like there's a norm, there's a cycle, a pattern that we've developed. But when they were able to switch it up, I thought they get it, they understand what we're doing. And one day we will be able to do it. We've done plenty of live events, which are fantastic. People go crazy, and we will one day get blood cannons where people can wear white t-shirts and get splattered with it. And our dream goal would be to actually be in a wrestling arena and be fully 360 surrounded and having our champions in the middle, or getting LARP actors to reenact it for them, right? To be fully committed in this moment. It's so exciting to see this vision can happen.
Sorry, I'm sitting here working out logistics on how to make that. No, that'd be amazing.
Right.
You could do a time delay from when the action happens, get the information. So you need fantastic improv, physical improv performers
Yes.
have the time delay of like 2 minutes from when it happened backstage to that, to then when it goes, yeah, that would be fucking amazing.
Yep.
Oh, that'd be so good. Yeah, I gotta make that happen. I'm
Yeah.
on board. If you need help, I'm there.
Listen, just throw money at it, right? Like, no.
Literally.
Like, there's so many projects of like, if I had money, we could do this. We could hire a camera crew. We could hire stunt actors to come in and fight, right? Like, eventually. If I lived in LA, I'd make this be easier to find people for,
Side tangent there. I had a meeting with an agent the day before. They're like, have you thought about moving down to LA? No, I'm not moving down to LA. I'm not. I'm sorry.
Right.
Like, sure, I know it may be way better down there, but A, I'm not moving my kids. B, I'm not moving to the States. I'm Canadian. I like it here.
No, it's okay. It's okay. But it's right. Like, that's also the challenge of being a creative. There are certain hot spots like LA and New York City that, like, if you move here, there'll be a lot of gigs. They may not pay very well, so you're going to struggle with paying with rent, and good luck if you've got a family, right? Like, and you're not going to get vacation time. So it's fun to talk about all these projects, but then there's always that underlining challenge of, if I did this full time, I may not be able to afford to eat, right? Like,
yeah, no, it's a very real thing. I mean, unless you have that solid base underneath you, you can do a lot of things, but it doesn't mean it's going to be, fruitful in any way. And at the end of the day, we gotta eat, we gotta live, like, So yeah, no, it sucks out there, man, because we just want to create. Let us do really cool shit. Just give us a whole bunch of money and let us go.
Yes.
Why is that so hard to do?
Yes. I need, like, not a tender, but one for benefactors, like benefactors looking for creative artists of. Bring me back to the Renaissance era. I will, every quarter do something about you and your rich, wonderful life and how amazing you are. But then give me money to do all then my favorite projects too. That's what I need. I need a benefactor. I will write art about you, but then allow me to do my work too.
And one for them, one for you, man. It's how it goes.
It's a great deal.
It's
a great
deal. I'm a huge fan. I'm on my way to trying to find my own, so I get it. Because there's a lot of shit I need to do. Okay. Rapid fire. They generally never end up rapid fire, but I like to hype it up as much as I can.
Okay.
Most memorable moment while streaming.
My dog scaring me. It was horrifying. She jumped on my lap while I was playing this tiny game where cockroaches were attacking me, and I thought I was going to die. Memorable in the worst way.
But memorable for everyone else watching too. That's amazing.
Yes. One of my most viral videos. Yes. Unfortunately.
I may end up linking it. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Okay. This one is probably going to take a bit. And you have to decide if you're GMing or sitting at the table.
Okay.
Who are the other 5 you want with you? Anybody out there in the space.
Ooh. Oh no, that's a long list.
Oh, I know.
Okay. Dude, I love Sam. Just Sam is amazing. Edward Spence is absolutely fantastic. Sarah from Pixies and Pens, DM Dave and Raina and Dag. I know I'm over. AJ Winter's Tale. Robert Hartley is fantastic. I absolutely adore all of them. I'm now trying to think off the top of my list. Lexi, absolutely amazing as well. I could Black Girl Mage is a screen name for that. And I know I'm at 10. Okay, I'll stop.
Just be lucky I'm not making you narrow it down.
I can't. This takes me back to MySpace. Choose your top 9 friends. I can't do that.
Poor Calamity almost had a heart attack when I asked them.
Yeah, I can't do it.
But you know what? It's a good question. So side tangent again. Yeah. I want to run a game of something where everybody at the table is all GMs. All the players are GMs.
Ooh.
Like,
that makes me, I forgot to mention GM Workshop. Oh, and Cinderblock Sally. Okay, see, now you've made me, yeah. It's fine.
We're
It's
cutting
fine.
off the question. No, stop. We're done.
Miss Magitech.
Nope.
She always has to DM. Okay, sorry.
Everybody you have mentioned past the 5, they don't count, and I'm going to tell them you hate them. That's what's going to happen.
I was going it was in order of recency. I don't want to, though Sam is amazing. Definitely on that list anyway. But
Sam and Ed are amazing. I love those two so much. I had Ed on the TTRPG roundtable I had. It was so much fun.
Oh yeah, I listened to that one.
Oh, that is great.
So yeah.
Okay, all right, bringing it back. What is the favorite character you have ever played or created?
Kiki the monkey. She's a monkey. She's absolutely adorable. She actually first started off as a familiar, and her voice is terribly annoying. It's like that classic anime.
Yeah, I'm Kiki. I always carry around rocks, and there's a lot of fun that you can do with this.
But she is my favorite. She's a support character all the way through, and she has the ability to have the levity and heart that I love to have, and it's so much fun because she can help bring out the best in everyone else's characters, which is what I love to do at the table.
The best answer I've ever heard.
Thank you.
We even got a voice out of that one. That was fucking amazing. Okay. Be it tabletop board game or video game. What is the one game you wish you had created?
Horizon Zero Dawn or Horizon Forbidden West. Playing as Aloy, creating that of the mechanical beasts, especially the dinosaurs. It was a world that I thought, I love this. It is so cool, and it's this idea of technology and lush, beautiful lands that I love. It is gorgeous in every scene. Yes, that is one I'm like, I wish I could have done that. It's so lore heavy, well written, great characters. Yes.
Beautiful choice. That's kind of one of the ones where it's like, God damn it, I wish I had thought of that.
It's so good. It's such a good story. Yeah.
Do you have any hot takes on gaming? And let's narrow it down to tabletop here. Do you have any hot takes out there of something that pisses you off that normally doesn't piss anyone else off?
Oh, I'm going to need a second to think about this. You might have to delete some dead space here.
You know what? There's going to be so much edited out of this. People are going to be wondering what I took out. I might throw in some beeps just to I've done that a couple times.
Just like, oh, she curses a lot.
I was talking to Raven's Breath, and I dropped a very hot topic that I ended up deciding I needed to take out because it would have pissed off a lot of people. And, I don't want that kind of traction. I need views, sure, but not that way.
All right, here's my hot take. Homebrew is always better. It will always be more adaptive to a table. I do not care what your D&D lore is. No, I'm not going to read all of it. It is not always well written, and it doesn't involve enough adaptation to your player characters and the challenges and milestones that they're going through. Homebrew is the way to go, and even whatever your table is, that personal homebrew is valuable. That's the take.
You know what? I'm on board with that one. Anyone wants to come for you, I'm standing with you.
So we have a small army started.
Homebrews are just I find campaign books and all of that stuff, as I say, as one who is currently about to release his Candela campaign book. It's safe. It's a safe option to go, which is awesome and amazing for people that don't have the really big creative world building brains. Love it.
Yeah.
Run your game, have fun, enjoy it, buy my book. But at the same time, for creatives who love that type of thing, it's way too constrictive. There's not enough room to expand and grow. Like I ran one for my son. I created an entire world for him and his friends for a D&D game, and it was amazing. And then we stopped playing, and about this year I was like, I kind of want to bring that back, but I want to change it. So I destroyed the entire world, and now the bad guys literally run the world. And now it's this like post-apocalyptic horror D&D game. And I was like, I couldn't have done that with anything else in any of the source stuff. Like, it wouldn't have worked. So it's like, homebrew all the way. All the fucking way. What is your guilty pleasure game?
Oh, Mass Effect. Mass Effect
How is
2.
that a guilty pleasure game?
Because I've played it more than 8 times now.
How is that? No. I want something else because that's just a damn good game to play.
Guilty pleasure game then, Candy Crush. I don't know why.
Really?
It's so satisfying to go through it. Yes, I'm over level 1000 in Candy Crush, and that's starting over. On my old phone, I was also over level 1000. And then I changed phones and I lost my progress, so I'm back where I was.
You didn't connect it to your Facebook, did you? That's your problem.
I didn't. I refused to. There's certain things. I will never give mobile games my money. It is a pride point. I will not give them my Facebook. I'm not signing in, but I love it. I also just admire how they plug in and try to upsell you. Like, I love seeing the strategies of like, here's what you. I love seeing like, here's how they get you to play for hours. Like, I love analyzing it as the way in which they hook you. The game itself is fine, but it's so effective at being addictive. I love seeing the strategies.
Completely same brain there, because like I'm watching all the psychology happening while I'm playing, where it's like, it's only $1.99.
Right?
No, Chris, no.
Mm-hmm. And they give you progress and they make you see the visual of dropping off and breaking, right? And the sad girl. So they try to hit the emotional levels behind it as well, right? And they even now have like the change, like 5,000 other people went ahead and did this to make sure that they could continue, right? So they're adding in peer pressure behind it. There are so many cues. And I think people don't always see those. As marketers, we do. Like, even when we do articles like this article takes 4 minutes to read, that's us telling you like, it's easy, take the time to hop on over, right? The visual of a good thumbnail, the action of seeing things versus just reading it is so important. It's very well done. Candy Crush leads the leaderboard when it comes to making addicting games.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, just look at everything they do over there with Blizzard behind them now in Activision. Like, they got the money to drop that psychology, and man, they do it so good.
I think they were in 2023 one of the top 10 reasons why of divorce in Egypt.
Really?
Let me double check that. Let me fact check myself. Yes, because the cost and time.
Yeah. No, I mean,
hold on. I'm gonna Google this.
Google it up, man, because shit, that's amazing.
I feel like I read that somewhere. Yes. No, it was much older than that. 2022. This does not seem like a legitimate source, but I'm going to read this anyway. See if they make it. Today's fact is about the causes of divorce in countries, specifically in Egypt, where they had a major increase in divorce rates. It was a surprise that Candy Crush and PlayStation are part of the reasons in which that increase has happened.
I mean, it makes sense. I can see it.
Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It happens.
You know what? I mean, yeah, we've all been there for something or another. I mean, shit, WoW took up so much of my time.
It's not too much. 17,000 cases in 2018 were attributed to Candy Crush, and 250,000 divorce cases were caused by PlayStation.
Wow. Now, just PlayStation, or are they kind of wrapping all consoles in there?
I think they're wrapping. They say PlayStation specifically.
Maybe it's like
electronic games are addictive.
Yeah.
So it might have been just. It could have been others. It probably was listed in whatever reasons for divorce, and they didn't know how to categorize it.
Gamers just don't know how to properly.
No. We might have problems.
all right, bringing it back. What is the most memorable NPC you've ever created?
Oh.
Or had the pleasure of meeting? I'm gonna say Thandor in the Fourth Age. Just throwing that out there.
Fair. A fan favorite, absolutely, all the way through. Best. That was my favorite meeting ever. I created Thea, who is an imp in D20 Deathmatch. She's a little bit of a cousin of sorts to Kiki, but she serves as that cheerleader, and she can be used as a weapon. She can be used as a shield. And she is a catalyst as well. It turns out I really like support. I love allowing others to really shine. I guess that's my theme.
We were going to be discussing that one here in a bit because I had some thoughts on that too. What is your preferred gaming snack?
Okay, it is going to be Jimmy Dean breakfast corn dogs.
That is a very specific snack.
They're so delicious, and it's not like regular corn dogs where it's hot dog and the cornbread on the outside. It's pancake on the outside and sausage on the inside. It is fantastic. It's a little bit sweeter. It's great. Plus, it's on a stick, so it's super easy to eat, and your fingers don't get greasy. So there you have it.
Would it survive the trip to Canada, though?
You're frozen. If you send them packaged.
It's not the same frozen. I need it fresh. You don't understand.
No, I don't even eat them fresh. No. I'm going to Sam's Club and I'm buying the 100-pack, okay?
We don't have any of that stuff here.
You're missing out. It's amazing.
Apparently.
Even better if you can dip it in syrup. There you go.
Well, we also have better syrup here, so that's fine. What is it? And you can only choose one. One.
Okay.
What is the one game story that has inspired you the most?
I will say it's going to be Harmon's Quest. That was my first introduction into D&D, or TTRPGs, and I thought that's the right way to do it. It was imperfect characters with people who were having fun playing together, and the DM that allowed them, that was merely an arbiter of the story. I loved it. It is still what I consider one of the best standards and how I would like to lead my shows.
That was a beautiful, beautiful clip right there, and I think that was about 45 seconds. You nailed it. You nailed it.
Done.
See, I can say this stuff to you because you get it.
Yeah, right. Like, oh, this is editable. Got it. Good.
Perfect. Well, I mean, there's been a few interviews where it's like perfect soundbite, but then they kept going for about another minute. Damn it.
Yeah. And there's not like a clean edit, so it sounds like it's like in a word when you edit it.
Always that dropout. You're like, damn it, no.
I wish there was an AI edit tool where it could just like cut that word out for you nicely.
Just nice quick replace.
Yes.
Granted, I have become pretty good in Audition on.
Have you?
Quick drops. Oh yeah. Well, I've been doing this stuff for 17 years, so I get right in there.
Yeah.
I just
pick
hate
up a
doing
trick or two.
Yeah, I just hate doing it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Well, hell, so side tangent, even editing the videos and all that, I don't use Premiere because that just takes too long. So I throw it into Vegas Pro.
Yeah.
Because I've had that program forever. I know it like the back of my hand, and it's like super freaking easy to do everything I need done. I'm not doing anything fancy here, so it's like done.
Yep.
Rendering time, so that's about it. All right. Hey. So, what is your favorite game genre? And this will go for everything: video games, tabletop, whatever.
Ones that are mixed genre. I don't care which they are. More genre means better quality of a story. I love it.
You like the stew. I like the stew as well. Just put it all in there, man. Give me. Oh, so I've been working on a lot of romance horror stuff.
Yes.
Oh, perfect. Because I've never been.
That's an uncomfortable combo.
Well,
I love that.
I've never dived into romance up until this year when I met like Sarah Burton and a bunch of these other writers, and I was reading their stuff and realizing, oh, this is actually really good shit. But because I'm a horror guy, I was always waiting for that thing to happen where it changes the story, and my heart breaks, and it didn't happen. I'm like, no, we need to make that happen. It's missing that.
Yes.
So yeah, that's kind of my new thing now, is going for a romance horror, and it's great.
Monsters want love too.
Right. This is what I'm saying.
So turns us into monsters. So there we have it.
So then, out of your stew, what is the meat? What is the one that kind of draws you the most?
Adventure, good reason for growth, new experiences, propels them forward.
Is there any, as a player, are there any pet peeves that DMs do?
Turning everything into a fight. it prohibits me from thinking creatively. It's a critique that we have some video games as well, is that everything is a monster and you only interact with monsters one way, and that's by killing them, which is such a boring narrative at this point. You can do so many more different things, and it's not just, oh, I'm going to seduce the monster, which is always fun to do every now and then, but like there's so many things you can do. You can bribe them, you can try to persuade them, you can out puzzle them, right? There's so much more. And to force it to be like, you hear the battle music, like, but I don't wanna.
Well, yeah, I think it was Calamity or it was on the tabletop. I can't remember now because they're both kind of blending together.
Mm-hmm.
Combat as a actual play is boring.
Yes.
When it's just dice rolling, and it needs to be gone. Flat out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, finding new intriguing ways like that. That's actually kind of why I really like Candela, is because even the action is just like, yeah, okay, you do it. It's like,
yeah,
did you succeed in the role? Congratulations, you did the thing. There's no doubt, it's just done. And it's like, that's amazing. I love that. Just, yeah, it's just right to the point, and it's all creative flows. It's so good. So as we're kind of wrapping up here, I kind of wanted to talk a bit more about, you are definitely a leader. That is just kind of everything about you. Even during this conversation, and you're going, I'm talking to a person that just naturally is a leader. Is that something that you have consciously decided you are going to do, or has it just been a natural thing for you?
I am surprised to actually hear that definition. It is not something I'd ever considered, but hearing it, I appreciate it, because I've never considered myself as a leader, because we often define that as like being in charge and being the loud one and telling people what to do, and kind of mirroring with some of what I hear myself talking about being a support. I think good leaders are supposed to be individuals that make their team shine, that help their members find their own story, their own strength. And so honestly, that was a really nice compliment that you gave me. Thanks.
You are the person to make sure things are going in the right way. Do you need to do an esports thing that you've never done before? Let's put that together. How can we make that happen? You are about implementing the solutions rather than just talking about getting it done. And that makes you a perfect leader in my eyes. So
thank you.
You got it. And then the final absolute thing here, because we can probably keep going for another hour and a half at least, so we should probably cut it at some point. Where can people find you?
I am Caustic Phoenix across most platforms except on X, Twitter, where you'll find me at Becca Godsey instead, or on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect, send me a message. I always love talking to people. I will say sometimes I forget on Instagram because it's hidden and separate and save on Twitter, but LinkedIn, at least it pops up immediately for me right away, so you can't miss it.
I think you're the first person here to drop LinkedIn and say, contact me there.
What? Okay, maybe it's not as much in the D&D TTRPG space, but if you're in esports, you need to be active on LinkedIn. That is the best place to find other people that are doing gigs, that are running live events, that are sponsoring. LinkedIn is getting its revival.
God damn it, did you just sell me on using LinkedIn more?
Come back to it.
Well, see, I just schedule all of my shit in there, right? And I was just like, whatever. Yeah. But man, you just sold me. You are a very good marketer, you know that? Damn. Somebody should hire you for that at some point. Be a good career.
No, not again. I left.
No!
It's too exhausting. I get it. It's hard.
I was talking about people, and it's like, social media, Chris. Why don't you do this? Like, because I've done it for so many years. I don't want to do it. I'm tired of looking at it. I only go on there for my shit, and it's literally just bullshit because I don't want to do it.
It's hard. And it's even harder when you're running accounts for like your brands and you're putting those out there. Then when it comes to your personal one, you're like,
I don't want to.
Yeah, you're there. I don't know. Well, it's exhausting to find the space and the capacity for it.
It legit up until recent. So like last week, Buffer got the API for Threads. So now I can schedule the Threads. So now it's like, okay, Threads, Instagram, TikTok, for all the content. I can plan that out a month ahead. Fine, done. that's good because I like focusing on my own stuff because that's kind of where everything came from, and it's just I don't want to be focused on branding and shit entirely, but I know I need to do it, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's just gonna end up with us completely trashing more shit, so we're just gonna end off here. Thank you so much for joining us. All I need you to do now is just say goodbye to everyone.
Goodbye, good friends. Take care of yourselves and keep feeding your creative side.
Oh, that was beautiful.